All right, guys, welcome back to this week's episode of the Dev Dump. Last week we had, was it next program we had on last week? I think it was. Or was that the week before? I can't
I
remember.
think
I
that
don't know.
was just like
Too
3 days
many
ago.
episodes to keep track of
Yeah,
at
I
this
know.
point.
I mean,
know.
doing it weekly is just kind of like it's stressful, and you kind of they all merge into one. But yeah. How are you guys doing? How are you going?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Doing well.
cool.
Been a
Mostly-
long time.
It has
Mostly-
been a long time.
It's been, yeah, for real. It's been like 7 months, and I swear the reason we do Dev Dump is just to chat together.
Basically.
'Cause
Yeah.
it's the only way we can get a call together.
It's the
but-
only thing that brings us to actually talk about things.
Yeah, I think this time around we're going to be a bit more like chilled out with it. We've not got any prompts for us to talk about, so we're kind of just going to go in blind and just have a conversation. So hopefully that's enjoyable, I guess.
I agree.
Yeah. So I guess like we can start off just by saying what we've been doing. So Jacob, I guess, do you want to go first? Just say what you've been doing for
I mean, if I
7
have
months,
to.
not uploading.
Yeah. Past 6 months. Or yeah, 7 months. It's been a while. I think it's weird for me because I've been doing a lot of just like reflecting, and like 6 months ago or 7 months ago, whatever, I was like super sure that I would go into like software engineering because it's just like I guess what's like I thought was most in line with my skills. But now I've been like really more interested into like or in like entrepreneurship, and like I've kind of like shifted focus to that. So like school wise, I've like changed my major from computer science to computer science economics, and then minor
Oh,
in
nice.
entrepreneurship. Yeah. It's a big deal, bro. I changed my major for like the 5th time in a row, dude. And then I've also just been with like YouTube, I've been trying to sort of like grow like an online business, sort of create little models of these like side channels that can sort of scale, and that's been really fun to just experiment with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mostly been what I've been up to.
That's pretty cool. I
Just
didn't
a
know you were
couple of
like
channels.
approaching it from that angle, you know? I thought you were just kind of
Yeah.
But that's interesting to see because obviously it's been working. So
Yeah, I like it. Because I feel like with my main channel, I don't know if I'd want to like treat that like a business asset that I'd be like maximizing for like
yeah.
capital. It's like my childhood like passion project. Feels a little messed up. Plus, I also think it's hard to like balance like actually, because like put with my main channel, I want to put like my best foot forward, like my best content. It's hard to balance that with like a business approach.
Right.
So
That makes
yeah.
sense. Cool.
That's why for now it's just been like, or I've just been sort of like experimenting with that, I guess.
I
Nice.
think it's just stressful too. Like once you get a channel that grows enough, it's just like you feel like you can't experiment. So it's cool
I
to
know,
like
100%.
Yeah.
create a side channel. I recently just created a side channel, but it's a secret.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it. I won't spoil it. I'm subscribed though. Yeah, I feel like it's like nice to have like an outlet where I don't have to put out my like best, like highest effort work. Even just like creatively, just to have an outlet where like, oh, I can like, if I want to try out like some game engine thing or something where I don't want to like make a whole big video on it, I can just like stream it and then have someone turn it into like a video or whatever. Just like way more chill. It lets me try more things, I think. Just
That's cool.
bit
The funny
freer.
thing too is I feel like it's more natural, and when you experiment, you just stumble on good ideas. And I feel like your second channel, even your third channel, is like doing just as well as your
No, it's
first.
so bad. My third channel is like my best performing channel in terms of like just like the 24-hour views. Yeah, pretty backwards right now.
That's funny. Yeah, Mark, do you want to kind of explain what you've been doing then, I guess?
Yeah, so I been a busy couple of months. I worked on a demo for my game Dewdrop Dynasty, my Metroidvania, and then worked on that like no lifed for like 2 months, working on that, making a demo for Steam Fest and doing a Kickstarter. And then literally right after the Kickstarter was over, I had a baby, so I was pretty like exhausted. Still kind of am. So I've just been spending the last month Really, it's been weird. I've been like honing my skills. I've been doing a lot of like just like Python programming, Lua. I was messing around with C++, just like doing more, improving my programming skills. And then on the flip side, I've been doing like more improving my traditional art skills. Um, one of my good friends, Bonzo, he's a character designer and he does stuff for our games all the time. And he's an amazing artist. So we've been just like sketching, doing prompts together, and he's trying to help me improve. And so it's been really weird. It's been like I feel like I climbed a mountain and I'm training with like weighted clothing, and then I'm gonna go back and work on some games here soon. So, but other than that, it's been interesting, and I've kind of haven't been super active on YouTube because doing YouTube and making a game is like you have to have that like eventually there's a fine line. It's like you have to decide, do you want to be a YouTuber or do you want to be a game developer? And for the time being, I want to be a game developer. So, but
That's cool.
that's pretty much what I've done the last 7 months. That's doesn't feel like a lot, but it is.
Nice.
It's weird because like
Definitely some big things.
I haven't like spoken to you since probably the last podcast. Like it's been that long.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, pretty much. This is the only time all of us come together.
Literally.
It's weird too, because like we're all busy, we're all doing our own things, and I just like I don't want to pester you guys like, oh, they're probably busy doing something. So I normally don't reach out, but
I just realized as well we haven't mentioned why Reese isn't here. We just jumped
Reese
into.
who?
Oh yeah, what?
What do you mean?
Hmm?
Reese?
Who's
It's always been the
Reese?
three of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah, our co-host next program isn't here this week.
Yeah. Oh, that's who. I knew someone was missing. Next program isn't here. Oh yeah, wait, guys, another update. I'm no longer in the kitchen anymore. I finally have my own room, which has been pivotal. If it wasn't for this room, I definitely would have just like quit school. I would have just dropped out.
Watching Last Dev Dump, I was cracking up when that like girl came behind you. It was opening the fridge and just
that's so
staring
cringe.
at you.
Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I think about because I was being super loud and like there were people like studying. It was like end of the year like finals, and I was just like being super loud. Like, so guys, Unity is actually I feel like a game engine that's great for beginners or something. I don't know. I just can't watch that episode. I can't think about it.
Wait, somebody came behind you and went in the fridge.
They literally opened up and he was talking and he was like, yeah, this is my favorite engine, and the girl just like gives him like a weird look.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah. I'll have to find the timestamp.
I remember at the end of the video. At the end of the video, I like I think you like as a joke you said like you should sing the Dev Dup national anthem. I'm like, oh, I'm in public. I was like, and I looked and I made like I locked eye contact with someone. It was so awkward.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh man. Yeah, it's nice. I have so much space now.
Look at you.
Is that just like
Just ignore my headphones.
Are you in a dorm now, or you have your own apartment?
Yeah, I'm in a suite with like 4 other people, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have my own
That's
room.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very important.
Me for the last 6 months. What have I been doing? It's been a bit weird to be honest, because I went from like 2 years of like just laser focused on making videos, and like I always kind of considered that that's what I enjoyed doing, and like game development was kind of just like a tool to make videos. But recently I've kind of like shifted that on its head, and I don't like the I didn't like the direction that I was going, and it wasn't making me too happy, just like, you know, making videos for the sake of growth, you know, because I kind of realized that there's a big part of me that is interested in game development, you know, because all of us have got into game dev YouTube because we started off interested in game development, right? And it's like I kind of overshadowed that side of things so that I could make videos, and it was kind of just like, you know, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I'd rather go and make my own games and then you know, make videos on those, kind of like what Two Star's been doing and Jonas Tyrola, and you know. So me and my friend Timothy, who was kind of in like a similar situation, he was working in the games industry in Australia. We had these, like, we've done a few game jams together. We kind of were just like, you know what, let's make this game. Let's do a game together. So we kind of like brainstormed loads of ideas. It took us like a month to go from, you know, nothing to get in there. You know, we had tons of different ideas. we ended up like not doing the best idea that we had because we thought it was too ambitious. And now we're working on this like pogo racing game. It's pretty fun. But yeah, no, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and kind of like approaching YouTube in more of like a post-mortem like analysis of what I've done rather than like making the game specifically for the video. And yeah, I've not uploaded anything yet, so we'll see what happens. But I anticipate that will probably make my existing fans a lot more happy, but it'll bring in less new ones, which is like, at the end of the day, it's like a sacrifice that I'm willing to make because I don't want to just kind of push all my creativity to one side just because, that'll make the most money or get the most growth. So it's kind of the direction that I've gone in. But yeah, no, happy doing it. And yeah.
I think it's just like YouTube is a very different landscape than it was a long time ago, and people think like 100,000 subscribers. How many millions are you making? And you're like, and me especially, like I haven't had like sponsors in a while, and that's like been a choice, just because I actually Game Maker was trying to work with me, and like we just kept going back and forth, and like with deadlines and price. I'm like, you know what? It really isn't worth it. And people get frustrated with sponsors. I'm like, I'm just gonna make stuff and upload.
I had a super similar experience.
Yeah, and they got really froggy with me, and I'm like, hey, it's fine, but it's
just some drama, dude.
What I realized is like, obviously sponsors are great, and I'm not dogging on sponsors because they allow us like, you can keep doing stuff. You can like, you can actually grow your channel and pay your bills and stuff.
Yeah, like if you don't have a YouTube channel, like sponsors are just like so much more than the ad revenue. Like if you want to turn it into like a business or, live off it, like it's kind of essential at the beginning to take sponsorships.
Yeah, if you're not getting sponsors, you need to be getting like millions of views per video.
It's crazy.
I've noticed about like 250,000 views is about $500. Like that's what at least I've noticed.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I don't, unless you're posting all the time, and then if you're posting all the time, like, and you're doing all these challenges and stuff like that, like, how do you come up with ideas all the time to do that? And so kind of my thing is, I just love the community that, like we've created on YouTube, and like the people that follow along. I've met so many amazing people. And so my favorite things are doing like streams, and I literally like my favorite type of videos are just when I make something weird, I don't tell anyone about it. I just do it for fun, and then 3 months later I'll make a video about it, just kind of talking about what I did. And even my latest video is really weird, and I don't even like, performance wise it's probably not going to do well, but like I'm like, I don't even care. I just think it's a funny video to show off some of the weird games and projects I worked on. And ultimately, like if you're not happy with your videos, like looking back, if you just made like, I made the cringiest game in 3 hours, like you're gonna look back and you're gonna cringe. You know what I'm saying?
I made Among Us, but in 2 hours.
Those people though must have like the worst imposter syndrome in the entire world.
Yeah,
like,
the thing is, like, if all of your, like, this is something I've realized a lot, is if all of your validation comes from like YouTube metrics, it becomes like really, really hard to make videos. And like, because it's so volatile, so your mood will just change all the time depending on how your content's doing. So that's why I resonated. I resonated a lot with the stuff that you were talking about on Twitter, Jack, about like just like YouTube and that kind of thing, and like focusing on like something else and having YouTube as a side thing. And it also reminded me, I think like Logan Paul had talked about a similar thing where he was like, if it wasn't for boxing, like he would not be able to like do YouTube, because if that's like the thing that you're putting all your effort into, then your self-worth just becomes these YouTube metrics.
It's so difficult.
And the performance, like you always want to check performance, but then you have to like ignore it, like, and you can't just like, if you want to grow your channel, like you have to learn from it, but there's just like this fine line. And what I noticed that is I kind of make videos when every once in a while I'm like, hey, I really feel like working on stuff, and then I make like a couple of videos, and then I go a while, and then I'm like doing something else, and maybe I could, if I was making like streams and doing all this stuff all the time, I would grow from it. But honestly, like if to go full time with YouTube, the channel would just have to be doing so well. on its own where I wouldn't have to really try. Like, I want to be one of those channels that like just has a camera and they just like film themselves talking about something outside. And they're just like those like all those like Linux channels are like that. You just have like they're just like mental outlaw or something. They're just like talking about something. It's like
Yeah.
they just record for 5 seconds and they do that like once a week, twice a week, and make a full-time living off it. Like I don't even know how you do that.
I think with game dev, like the biggest issue is that like people get into it because, you know, like they want to show people the things that they're working on, right? So like all of us will have been making games and just thought like, why can't I make videos on all this stuff, right?
Right.
But the bigger that you
sucks your soul. Yeah,
the bigger you grow, you start to realize that like if you want to grow more, you kind of have to like sacrifice the things that you want to do in like put them to the side so that you can do things that are going to help maximize you grow. It's like I was getting to the point where like I had, you know, list of like games that I wanted to work on, and then I would like filter that list based on what I figured would do the best. So it's like I'm not necessarily working on the thing I most want to work on. I'm working on the thing that is going to do the best for my channel. And so like you kind of get into like a really bad sort of mindset of just, you know, I'm gonna kind of sell my soul a little bit and make all these things. And it's like it's not like it's how it should be, really, you know, because like TV shows and stuff, it's not people just documenting their lives and what they're doing. Like they're making stuff specifically for, you know, the viewers and to maximize the reach and stuff. So like, it makes sense, but you don't really realize that when you go into it, because obviously, you know, like you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking, oh, I want to show off all this cool stuff. And then over time, you start to like stray from the path until you get into like the complete opposite mindset. It's kind of wild. So
yeah, that's always been a big like, I guess like internal battle for me. And I think that's a big reason why I like having like my side channels where I can just like be more like I can just make, because I've always wondered like what if I just completely like disregarded my own like internal standards. I just posted like whatever. I tried to like maximize growth, and I wouldn't want to do that on my main channel like I was saying earlier, because I feel like it is just like I don't want to like I guess like ruin or like tarnish like something that's like genuine like passion, which I guess my goal with that is to be able to just like completely like unlock my main channel where I can just post whatever on it and not have to worry about like how it does or anything.
And then support yourselves, like you'll support yourself with the other channels.
Making scratch content for 2 years.
I think
sellout make scratch videos.
I think it's super smart that I feel like a lot of channels are doing that now, where they're creating secondary channels just to experiment, and that's hint or wink wink. Been thinking about doing the same thing of just like trying to like, because my videos take like 15 to 30 hours just like editing and thinking through all this stuff. And like what if I just, you know, did a video where I just talked about something, because like I'm pretty opinionated when it comes to stuff, and people like to hear my opinions on things sometimes. So I figured I'm like, instead of like making this fancy video, like think about like Garbage, for example, like that guy, he just like shows FPS footage.
I love his channel,
and and he just talks about something. It's so cool, and it's interesting, and his channel just continues to grow. And I think, and maybe he has the same thing where he has to think of something really clever, but it's easier to think of something clever and film for 5 seconds than like think something clever and then edit and then make a game and spend 2 months, and I don't know, it's crazy.
No, he was a big inspiration for my third channel with my commentary videos. I'm like, bro, imagine just being able to post like just like a quick recording, like 2 minutes. And
I don't know how he does it
as well as he does.
He's like, because the thing is, he can post whatever, and like people will watch it. Like I will watch every single Garbage video, because like I think he's the only person I've watched every video. But it's like it's not even necessarily like extravagant content. He'll just sit there for 2 minutes and explain like how his character's arms backwards or something, or like
it's interesting
how he's texturing a gun. And it's like I'll just watch it because I don't know how he does it, man.
There's this Linux YouTuber I watch on occasion called Luke Smith, and he just talks about like oh, you should get off the internet. He just like, and he makes a video like, oh, he just like really controversial stuff about like oh yeah, Linux sucks, but I use it. Like just like really random stuff. And he's just like standing in the woods. People say he looks like a Minecraft character because he's like, he wears like, in one of the videos he has like a teal shirt and he looks like Steve. but he just does his videos, and he on average I think he gets like 20 to 40,000 views per video, and he's got like 100,000 subscribers. But he does them like he'll do like one a day,
I
and
know, it's
Yeah.
so
crazy.
and he just like that's what his full time living is, and then he won't
Mhm.
make videos for a month, and he just like and then he'll make videos. It's just like I
That was
think
the wait. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well I just think like it's cool. I think what happens when you have a main channel is you feel like you need to put stuff on there, especially if you're making, if you're trying to make a living off it. So I do think that's kind of like the new route people are taking is getting more experimental with side channels and just trying new things and trying
Yeah.
to like you've stumbled upon some stuff with your second channel. Like those videos are hilarious. Like I just was like binge watching that channel the other day with your Mario 64.
Oh yeah. No, they're just so fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's cool because a lot of my friends, because like a lot of my like real life friends, they like know about my channel, but they never would watch my videos because like they don't care about like making a game in C++ and SEL2. But I think with my second channel, they're able to like connect with it a lot better. Like, oh, this is actually like interesting. Like, why don't you post these on your main channel?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It's definitely a more like broader content, which is
Yeah.
cool to be able to connect with more people.
That's why it's like that is the way to go though. Like as we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
saying this before the podcast, but there's literally people with like 50 to 100,000 followers now that just have basically done nothing in the video like development wise,
Yeah.
and they've effectively just like created this game out of like assets and compiled it into a cool looking YouTube video. And it's crazy that like that is like rewarded on YouTube more than like like a lot of effort. But like obviously I mean if that's your goal, if your goal is for the most growth, then those things are like gonna get the most growth.
Yeah.
And
It's such a hard thing to balance.
yeah,
It's probably the entertainment side of it too, because like even thinking about like making Mario with like from memory and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
final product isn't
It's
like
so bad.
an amazing game, but it's so entertaining seeing you like,
Mm.
oh, here's what a Goomba looks
Yeah.
like.
That's
So
the
I think-
funniest thing. Cause like the actual game, I'm like, I was good, like, okay, I don't need to add audio because like no one's gonna like notice that there's no audio. I can just do it in like Premiere. I'm like, I don't need to like, I can just make the first level, Definitely you can cut corners,
yeah.
which creates a weird thing if you want to actually make good games.
I think your videos are like the kind of like different to a lot of other ones. So like you've actually put a twist on like the viral content kind of stuff. Like doing all the like making stuff from memory or like like it's whereas a lot of them will literally just be like making a game with a twist or whatever.
Right. Or
Like
like the big is like RTX on. Or,
Yeah,
like,
the
making
RTX
NES
on.
game, but like 3D.
Yeah, the 3D RTX on physics.
Yeah.
Like they're the like classic tropes, but I feel like you've actually kind of like you've got like a couple of different series going on that are like actually really cool to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. I think like it's weird. I feel like a lot of people just like copy each other. Like I see a lot of channels, they'll just copy like Cody Kenny Diz or something. I'm like, there's so much potential for like game dev is like just like a it's like an infinite canvas really. It's the same with like Minecraft videos. You can just make like literally anything, and it's crazy that people will just like stick to the same things.
Yeah, it's like I
and
can't
copy,
imagine
like, the
doing
bigger
that though.
creators.
Like how
Yeah.
I don't know, like I guess everyone has different goals, but like I couldn't wake up every single day and just be like, okay, I'm gonna now make like the most viral idea I possibly can, go, and then just like download 15 asset packs, make like this recreation of a game, and just do that every single week.
No.
Like I just get so
That's something I realized
drained.
too. Even with my like with my Polymers plus videos, I'm like, okay, like I want to do another Scratch video, and I'm like, okay, and I just realized like I can't keep making Scratch videos because it literally just it'll get so boring. I'm like, I have to definitely keep like innovating, even if it's easy. Just keep doing the same thing. Like I just can't keep making Scratch games.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem though. Like when YouTube is a really weird place because like if you have a job, you work at your job, say you're working at like fast food, you know your role, you do it over and over again, and then you get better at it. But with
Right.
Yeah.
YouTube, it's like you know your role, you're like, I'm gonna make this type of video, this does well. And then like maybe it does well that month or that year, but then if you keep doing that, no one's gonna watch it.
Yeah.
And then so you have to constantly innovate. but then you also have to
Sure.
post on a regular basis. So then it's like, man, I have no idea what to post. But then like I don't have any ideas. Like and then the pressure of like having to post in all the stuff and it perform, making it perform well is stressful because then
Mhm.
you don't want to experiment. Because like, what if I try this video idea and I get 5 views and it's gonna look bad on my channel, all this
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah,
I
100%.
think, and so it is really easy. Like that's my biggest thing that I've have is like I just look at other people a little too much. I'm like, oh, what are they doing? What does well? And then, but like some of my best videos are when I'm like, yeah, this video is not going to do well. And I put
Yeah,
like
no,
the
agreed.
Keep when I did my Keep devlog, it was like a board game devlog,
Mm.
and I just wanted to talk about it. It was like the funny thing is the video was edited in Caden Live, and the audio was like glitchy. It wasn't even done in Premiere, and it was like the audio was kind of glitchy, and my brother actually did the editing for it. And I told him, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this probably isn't our best video, and but it doesn't matter because like the people were so interested in the content of it. Now, obviously, people are like, can you make more of those videos? I'm like, dude, that game took like 3 years to make. I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not making more
Yeah.
board game devlogs in
Uh,
a second, but um,
no,
it
yeah,
just
I agree.
it's hard. It's hard to stay original, come up with ideas, post
Mhm.
videos, work on games, do all the stuff that you want to do, and eventually you're just like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know, you
I
just want
think
to make
it's
it.
like
Yeah.
especially hard like when a certain thing works for you, it's hard to like do something else.
Yeah.
Like and like because a lot of the videos that like I posted like basically the same thing you mentioned that I posted on my second channel, I'm like, okay, these are gonna do really bad, then they like outperform my like actual like main channel videos,
Yeah.
then I realized like, oh, like maybe sticking to like these formats that I've stuck to this whole
Like the
time, like
thumbnails and the whole like
yeah,
dream
yeah,
game thing and all that. Like once
yeah,
once you get stuck on it, it's like it's so hard to try something new because you know
uh
it works.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because like you get a lot of comments from people, and the comment section, it's you have a lot of loving, supportive people, but they can also steer you in the wrong direction. Like, I would love to see more of this.
Yeah.
And maybe they're
Mm,
like 5 people, or like maybe it's 1,000 people that are very vocal in your comment section.
mm,
But that's it. Those are the only people that want to
yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
I want to see you do a desktop reveal or something.
Yeah.
Make a setup tour.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess I have a question then. Like this might be a bit of a thinker, but so maybe we
All
can
right.
come back to it. But like what is the most like innovative game dev video that you've seen recently? Like something that just like you watched it and you were like oh wow, that's super different. You know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to like come up with on
Yeah.
top of your head.
I'm like trying to think what's the last game dev video I've
Yeah.
watched.
I guess for me I'll go with the easy one is that new Jonas Tyrola series.
Oh yeah.
You know, like cuz it's like almost he's used like a weird format that works really well where he's like he's bringing you along for the ride of like, we literally started with absolutely nothing. We wanted to make a game. Here's the steps we took. Here's the the first failure, and he shows you the failure and like why it failed and, the reasons why they decided not to go with it, and then kind of like moves on to the next. And I don't know. It's just like it's a really good, like, I don't know. It's an exciting journey to kind of go on to watch those devlogs. I don't
Right.
know. It's just something new and fresh.
Yeah, I think I haven't watched it yet, but I think it is like cool to see like basically how you're describing it. Someone capture like the game dev process like authentically
Mm-hmm.
compared to like I feel like there's so many game dev videos that are just like really like heavily scripted, like BS like acting, and they
Yeah.
basically make the story before they make the game. It's like then I only had 10 minutes left. And like I'm I'm a culprit of this too or whatever. I
Yeah,
think
same.
I've done this in my videos where I'm like, oh, I have 10 minutes left, guys. Like, this was really intense. I almost didn't finish. I almost gave up. And it's just like really like boring to watch because it's just like obviously just like I mean maybe if you're good at acting, like I think scripted videos can work, but like a lot of the time unscripted videos just end up working a lot better because most people aren't like geniuses
Yeah.
at writing stories and acting.
In my
So I think it is cool to see like authentic content.
Yeah, in my Berg video, I lied about having a flight to catch. Like I didn't even have a flight to catch, but it paced the video so well. And like I wanted I wanted to have like a hook to come back to, like, something that like was putting pressure on me to finish this game within a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
And realistically, I just wanted to get the video out, but it's like I wanted kind of like to, I don't know,
Yeah.
to display like some
It's
sense of pressure, and it's like it's so fake.
I know what you mean.
It's
Yeah.
it's hard because sometimes game development is just so boring, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to make it
Mm.
like entertainment, like, and then I sat at the computer for 8 hours and didn't eat, and
Yeah.
like it's just like
And I spent
that's the
3
reality
days
of it.
fixing a bug, guys. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
think
when I was working on Dewdrop, like it was like a depressing time. Like I didn't see family or friends. I just was like getting it done in that time frame of the demo. And like people be hanging out, I'm like I can't. Like my friends are like, it's like kids
and then
like,
the video
you want to
is
come
just like
outside and play?
upbeat music. The video's like upbeat lo-fi. It's like, then I added these enemies and they are crazy, guys.
It's funny because I kind of made that video. I reflected how I felt because I was kind of
that's
depressed
cool.
at the time,
Uh-huh.
and people were like they were bothered by it. They were really bothered. Like, why are you depressed? Like people are like, man, like why are you making depressing videos and why are you trying to pander? I'm like, I'm not pandering. Like this is how I feel. I'm like burnout right now, and I sunk all this time into this thing, and this is like the disappointment or the raw emotion. But it is
Mhm.
it is interesting trying to figure out like how do you be authentic enough. And honestly, what my favorite videos of all time are when you tell a story. Like I just love it when someone's like, this is where I started and I did this thing. And maybe that's what you're talking about, Jack, about Jonas's video where he's just telling this story of like, hey, I started here and then we messed up, and I think we are at this place. Like even it's really interesting. Like Pontypants, like his videos were highly edited and like he almost reminded me of like PewDiePie, like the way his videos used to be. And now he's just like really mellow, and it's just him like working on his game and telling the story.
Yeah.
And his videos are doing so much better. And I honestly, the way he's working on his game is kind of like the dream. Like he's just working on his game that he's trying to finish,
Right.
and then it's doing well. And then he comes back, you know. And I like that. Obviously, that's the dream. But to have a game that's appealing like to a wide audience, you have to be using like Unreal Engine or something. I don't know.
No, that's why I've kind of like only stuck to Unity for the past year or so, just because like it's so much easier to like get people hooked on like a 3D game. I found so much easier. Like thumbnails especially, 3D thumbnails just do so much better in my experience. So it's like I don't know, but yeah, like that as we were mentioning before we started recording, like the art style and just like what, because when somebody's watching a video, they can't play the game, they can't feel the controls, they can't feel the like feedback from hitting somebody with a sword or something. So the most important thing is like the visuals and mainly the visuals. So it's like if you can do something to like, I guess, show it off in like a better way, like, and 3D just objectively, in my opinion, like, well, objectively in my opinion, but like, but you know what I mean? Like it's so much
100%.
easier to like make look good through a video, I guess. Yeah, and most people, like gamers especially, like I feel like 3D games are a lot more popular nowadays than 2D games are. Not saying they're better.
Yeah.
Not saying they're better.
No, it's true because they're a lot harder to make.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, even with Dewdrop, I kind of went through that dilemma. It's like I made a game that literally anyone could make, like the art style and stuff. Like I'm a professional artist, and I made the art style like something so simple. But actually, weirdly enough, I feel like that's why there's an appeal for the game. It's because it feels like a game that other people can make. They feel like, wow, this game is like simple enough, even though it's like it's not like the amount of work that's gone into it, even with the artwork. But I feel like there's sometimes if you make even with like simple 3D, people are like, hey, I could do that, and it's relatable.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about Dewdrop thumbnails is like they just don't do well. It's like because the game, it's like they're dark, and all thumbnails need to be bright and like saturated, like your eyes are burning, and like even when I make 3D games, I make really moody like Nintendo 64 looking 3D games.
Yeah.
And those look terrible too. So it's like I don't know.
Good, because this is going to be really controversial, but like I do not like pixel art games. Like I do not like that art style. However, Dewdrop Dynasty is like the one game where I think the pixel art is like genuinely like beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah, to be fair,
it's
I think
clean
it stands
and
out.
it's not messy at all. You know, like it's very simple, and I don't like the whole like you know, like noisia, like that style of. Loads of people love this.
Oh yeah, like the like what is it, like high pixel art?
Just like
High bit,
really
whatever.
high resolution pixel art where like there's
Yeah.
so many different colors. Like you're trying to
I
add
actually
detail.
agree, I think.
Like
I
the
think
whole
I like stylized pixel art.
yeah, like the whole point of pixel art is it's supposed to look simple. Like what's the point in going with pixels when you're trying to achieve like a high resolution image? Like I don't know. I don't think they work too well together. But lots of people do like it.
Yeah,
It's just a
I think a
personal
big
preference.
thing with like the like high res, even like whatever pixel art is, all the games just look the same. Like that's like the
They do.
very like go-to art style, especially for like 2D side scrollers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Dewdrop stands out a lot, especially like for like the genre it's in. I feel like at least to me, like visually, I think it stands out.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've gone back and forth with it, but I feel like because like for a living, like I literally am like an icon designer. Like that's all I do. I've found that my skill is taking complex shapes and making them like really simple. And so I think that's why I gravitate towards like making really basic artwork because it's just icons for me. Um, but even like I've seen there's been some like people have made some Dewdrop heavily inspired Dewdrop games and stuff, and they try to make the same art and it doesn't look the same. Like so, I feel like it has a unique spin. But yeah, maybe that's what it needs. There's too many like Hollow Knight type games out there that look like Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a Metroidvania that looks like it's like a DOS game and has the story of Paper
That's
Mario.
Also, I personally like how the music is not like low bit, like whatever music.
Yeah,
I don't know why it like bothers me, like the screechy like retro music.
Yeah.
I can't
But
stand
I
it
think
at all.
that's just me.
I can't stand like chiptune music.
Yeah.
It's good if you're doing like a purist like NES clone or Game Boy clone. It's like okay, but most of the people aren't very tasteful with it. And then sound effects, I can't stand BFXR or whatever. Like the sound, like it's the worst. I cannot stand it at all. It's so shrill. No one mixes it well. Like it's just terrible. So that was like intentional when I was working with my composer. I'm like he's done composed for the anime Ruby or whatever. Or is it Ruby? Yeah. Or it was like one of the games or something. He did work for, and I'm like he's like an anime kind of composer, and he's just fantastic. So I'm like it has the feel that I want for this game, which is kind of like a 90s, like I guess a 90s like early 2000s like anime game, but in pixel art. So.
I'd say like it's very like modern in a way though, because a lot of
I think it's like retro, but it doesn't feel dated.
Yeah, like a lot of pixel art games like kind of play into the fact that pixel art is like an old art style, kind of like, you know, so they do everything in kind of the way that they, you know, the NES or the SNES would have done things, which is just, I don't know, I feel like that's so backwards in a way, because it's like you've got all these powerful tools and, you know, all like years of innovation in game design. So like why are we trying to recreate, you know, very primitive like early games, whereas like with yours it feels like I saw a gif of like where you were like shooting this blue weapon and like you were rolling over it and going, and it just felt like the movement was like it looked really fluid. You don't tend to see that in like pixel art games. They all seem to have like this really rigid kind of, I don't know, movement. It's a bit weird.
It's
I guess it's like a stylistic thing, but I also like how the UI is also like
clean and modern.
Not pixel art. Yeah.
It's been very actually controversial, like with some of the choices. Like some people are like, oh, don't do this, because adding squash and stretch and like adding there's like noise and like fog and stuff with areas and like glow. And I used to actually not like that growing up, but I'm like, it's just easier to work with, and it just you don't want a game that is so stiff. Like the movement in Dewdrop is everything. Like it's like it's a interesting looking game, but it's not going to compete. Like there's some games like Owlboy, even if you don't like pixel art, like people are going to look at the price of Owlboy and the price of Dewdrop, and like Owlboy looks prettier. So Dewdrop has to play, like the movement has to play like incredibly. And so working on that has been like interesting, but it's actually kind of cool because the art style is so simple, I feel like I'm not distracted by it and I can just focus on making a game that plays really well. But I don't know. It's been a learning experience, and I'm actually super excited. My goal is to make the least Metroidvania ever. Like, I'm more inspired by like Zelda dungeons than I am
Right.
from
Oh yeah.
Metroid. So I'm curious to see how it all turns out. And really, I'm not like I don't want to release a bad game. So even if it's bad,
Mm.
I'm gonna fix it. Like I will not stop working on Dewdrop until it's like 100% what I want it to be. So.
Nice.
That's good.
That's exciting. As you can tell, I'm your number one fan.
I didn't have any like Dewdrop merch. I was gonna make some more,
Wow.
and then people keep asking for plushes, so I'm like, that's like the number
Oh,
one
you
request.
should.
I was like, guys, you want Go Get merch? Like, no, give us Poe plush,
Yeah, do it. I'll put it next to Danny down there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could end there. We're 40 minutes in, and I feel like we had some good conversations.
Yeah.
So how about we'll end it with this?
Yeah.
If you are doing game dev, have fun with it. I know it sounds really stupid and like dumb advice, but have fun with it because it's like you don't want to burn out.
No.
Also, be nice to Bargy. Let him experiment and be encouraging with that. And wishlist Dewdrop Dynasty on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, low resolution, dated pixel art graphics suck.
Yeah, we hate them.
That was another big topic.
Stop
today.
making pixel art games. Come on.
Yeah. As you can tell.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week for the Dev Dump podcast.
Yeah, definitely
Next week,
another one
2020.
next week.
I think we all want to do them more often, but we
Yeah.
don't know when the next one will be. So it's either going to be in a week's time or 2 years' time. But
I feel like what we should do sometime is just stream it. Just like
we
if
should stream
That'd be
it.
chill.
If
That'd
that's
be so chill.
interesting for you guys, let us know just
Yeah.
to stream it because then it's
Yeah.
less pressure and we can interact with you and answer questions.
I might.
True.
We could premiere this one again because we did that last time. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can.
Nice.
we
Well,
can- yeah.
If
Watch
you're hearing the
ourselves
premiere,
back.
type in the chat Polymars. Only my name though.
Yeah. Only
Only Polymars.
Yeah.
Alright.
See you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Devs up.